ACE is the Advanced Apprenticeship in Sporting Excellence. And this is an apprenticeship, an advanced apprenticeship that's funded by the government. What national governing bodies and sporting bodies want is intelligent thinking athletes. They make the best athletes. So what ACE does is allow the athletes to choose their area of study, but alongside that they work on another qualification called the NVQ Level 3 in Sporting Excellence, which is all about their sport.
He'll have a look at me first and then he'll correct it. He'll keep correcting it till I've got it right, and then he can leave me on my own and then work with someone else. 3-3-minute rounds, but constant working on that to make till it's perfect.
Yeah, and that skill exploration right there, Jack is so he'll be working through the skill, all right, but he's got to do it on his own.
And when they're doing the NVQ Level 3 in Sporting Excellence, they're working with an elite coach. So they manage to have their sport alongside their education for very talented athletes. Where the lifelong learning programme enhances this experience is within the NVQ in Sporting Excellence. There's a number of things they have to learn. So, for example, the units are technical, tactical, physical and mental, which is the sporting part they can do with their coach.
Let's get those hands nice and high, yeah? So we get the guards nice and tight. A couple of times it drops, so let's just keep it nice and tight, ready to go. Ready to go again?
In addition, they have to learn about communication. They have to learn about diet and nutrition, lifestyle, and all these extra units are enhanced by a lifelong learning programme overseas. We can assess them much more thoroughly overseas than we can in this country.
You all right, Max?
Oh, you all right?
Yeah, good, thanks, mate. Yeah. You're looking well anyway.
Yeah.
Making the weight all right?
Yeah, everything's sound.
I'm just at the moment trying to organise the Tenerife training camp for next year. And I'm just after any feedback I can get from you about it, because I know you went on straight away from there to win your gold at the Commonwealth Youth Championships.
It just was a really great experience for me to go into different tournaments away from home and get used to that uncomfortable environment of boxing away from home and feeling comfortable when performing.
The Tenerife trip in particular is of great importance to us on this programme, because it comes at the end of the first year, so it's mid-course, and they get quite a bit of pressure put on them as well. So physically they're somewhere hot, they're doing some of their training at altitude, and socially they have to mix successfully as part of a big squad over there.
What happened when you went to Tenerife?
We went over to Tenerife for 2 weeks, learned all about experiencing a training camp out in a different country away from home. Picked up lots of experience coaching young kids in a gym, learning Spanish, training high altitude, going running and stuff like that up the mountains, and it's really given me a lot of experience.
The lifelong learning programme has a very positive effect on us at college level regarding recruitment, for one thing, because it's a very attractive part of the course. It certainly helped us improve the quality of applicants for the course as well, because we're getting more elite athletes actually applying, and there are loads of different ways that it does benefit the course, and particularly you see it in the second years really flourishing once they've been on that mid-course foreign training camp.
We asked them to interview for Tenerife and tell us their expectations of the 2 weeks over there and how they expect it will help their course. The level of these athletes, they can't afford to be off programme for 2 weeks. So what we ensure is their study continues and their fitness and their training continues while they're out there. We design workbooks for them to make sure the work they do out there is assessed, so their study does not stop. In addition to that, when they're doing their work placement, we can cover a lot of the units in the MVQ, such as how do you cope with your diet out there? How do you cope with a different language? What about the culture? How do you carry on your fitness, perhaps at high altitude, perhaps in that level of heat? So it teaches them how to become a holistic athlete, which is what the national governing bodies want.
I think the main thing that the lifelong learning programme and the advanced apprenticeship in sporting excellence does is it teaches the boxers the fundamentals, the A, B's and C's. When we pass on to England and then ultimately GB boxing, they want our boxers to understand the A, B's and C's, and it's time saved for them, and then they can go on and teach the X, Y's and Z's.
Okay, so first session of the camp, boys. 1 round, individual shadow. So it's not a round where you just throw shots the way you know, or just do this, I throw them shots. It's the individual things you've been working on that the coaches have set you while you've been here on the camps.
Leaving the country in itself is a big step for a lot of our boxers. Some boxers have never been to an airport, let alone a foreign country. Now, that may well just impact on their own lives, and never mind their athletic career, and for me that's a bonus in itself.
An integral part of any lifelong learning programme is the relationship you have with your partner. We are incredibly lucky in our partner, the FU Language Academy in Tenerife. So we spend a long time communicating before any project about getting the detail right and finite. And they are incredibly experienced. And whilst we're there, they very much take an active part. What they learn as far as sporting excellence with their coaches and the national governing body being out there is second to none. And on top of what they get from our staff and the experience we give them, they learn so much more from their peers in a European country. You know, it's well known that some of the best learning is teaching something to somebody else. And I see that with our athletes when they coach young people over there, the pride they have in their sport, how they're having to learn how to articulate themselves, acting as a coach mentor point of view, I think makes them think a little bit more about the people that coach and mentor them and think about why that's important. And the relationships they build and the training they get. I mean, not many athletes get the opportunity to run up Mount Tady at 6 o'clock in the morning. Whilst it be my idea of hell, it's what a lot of these athletes aspire to, and it's a challenge. So learning about that kind of altitude and learning about their bodies and how they are affected and how do they respond to a different environment, different terrain, different weather, different food. So there's so much they learn from it that they couldn't get in this country.
Bringing the coaches together in Tenerife on the lifelong learning programme is kind of an invaluable experience. It's very difficult for that to happen throughout the year, purely because of where they are in the country and the workloads that they have. The lifelong learning programme is a must for any young athlete. I think the opportunities that they get from the programme will impact on the rest of their athletic career. Not every boxer who comes through the programme will end up an elite athlete, we know that, but what the LLP does is give the boxers the skills to go on to another career, perhaps in boxing, perhaps in sport, or perhaps outside of the two. Ultimately, that strengthens their chance to gain employment.
Right, you've got to give them the ball, give them the boundaries, give them the skill, and then let them have a go on their own.
We've had real opportunities. We've had a number of our athletes being offered full-time work in Tenerife once they've completed their studies. Not only work placement opportunities or proper employability opportunities over there, but when our apprentice athletes come back, it helps with applications to universities, it helps with applications for the workplace, because universities' employers want so much more now than just a qualification. To say that our athletes, our apprentices have learnt these life skills in a different country is incredibly valuable.